And welcome back, everyone, to episode 71 of the Sports Coverage Podcast. My name is Andrew. Unfortunately, Vince cannot be here today, but we are welcoming a very special guest, Noah Katz, the man behind the Umpire channel, which I'm sure you've seen if you're kind of in the baseball space on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube or somewhere, because he has done a lot of really cool things recently when it comes to umpiring. So it's awesome to have you on. Thank you for joining us, Noah.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. Excited to be here.
Yeah, so I'd love to start all the way back at the beginning with kind of your umpiring career. And I've had a chance to kind of read up on some of the things on your website and stuff like that about how you got into umpiring. But I'd love to hear from you firsthand. So, how did that love kind of originate for you?
Yeah, so started off played all the way growing up, and I loved it. And I was getting to be 16, was looking for a part-time job. A lot of my friends were as well, and I got to know the umpires in my local Little League really well. And they said when I was older, I could be an umpire. So started umpiring as a part-time job. Loved it. It's a great way to be around the game of baseball. Yeah, outside, work a flexible job, and I loved it. But none of my friends realized that they could become umpires, and the Little Leagues had huge problems with umpire shortages. So, about 3 years ago, I started making videos about why being an umpire is a great part time job. The first video got 300,000 views, and the Umpire channel's grown from there.
Yeah, so kind of going back to that, you mentioned how a lot of people around you didn't really know how to get into that umpiring career path, I guess. And I know that you've had the opportunity to attend a couple of the MLB umpiring camps, and that's actually one of your most viewed videos, especially on YouTube. So, can you go a bit more into how one would take that next step, kind of as you're on your journey to try to be a professional umpire?
Yeah, so first, if you want to get started umpiring, I highly recommend it. It is a great part time job, whether you're in school, whether you're retired, whatever it is. It's a great thing to be a part of. So I highly recommend that. If you want to get started in Little League, I would reach out to your local Little League. Maybe go to the umpires after a game, ask them, how does it work? How can I get signed up? You could look at the Little League website. They should have some sign up info there. Um, and it's very easy to get started and very worthwhile. As for how to become an MLB umpire, the process is now pretty simple. You attend Major League Baseball has these 1 day MLB umpire camps throughout the country, and you can attend those. And the top performers from those are selected and placed in their pro umpire school, and from there you are selected and placed in minor league baseball. So the MLB umpire camps are again a great experience. Whether you want to work in professional baseball or just want a great experience and to learn more about umpiring.
Yeah, and what was your experience like attending one of those?
Yeah, it was really cool. I was held at a AAA stadium, a local stadium to me, which is cool to get out and be on the field there. And the instructors are current and former MLB umpires, minor league umpires, so you learn a lot in a short amount of time. And yeah, it's just very cool to be out there surrounded by so many other umpires.
Yeah, so I kind of want to go back to something you mentioned with your response to the first question. So you talked about how you kind of got into posting videos because you noticed there was an umpire shortage, and of course there still is, especially in Little League and stuff like that. Um, but kind of where did that original spark to do content creation come from, and how are you now kind of working to balance that between, of course, school and now working with the bananas and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I've always wanted to create content, done some different stuff for different things. And then when I was going to start umpiring, I was looking up, how do I umpire? How do I call strike? What gear do I need? And nothing was coming up. So I thought there was space for content about umpiring. So that's kind of how I got started. And yeah, it's a lot of a balance. It's steadily building up and learning your skills and posting video and trying to post very consistently and get better every day.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, obviously, you do a mix of tutorial videos. You also do some videos with professional umpires and stuff like that. So, kind of, how did you get into that space and gain your original experience in umpiring?
Yeah, so for the content, it just a lot of experimenting. Find it takes a while to find exactly what you want to make, but So yeah, a lot of different experimenting. Once we found kind of buckets of content that we liked, we expanded on that. So one bucket is our tutorial content, one bucket is our day in the life videos, one bucket is our interview videos. So finding repeatable formats and then being able to go out and apply that in a lot of different places.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'd love to kind of hear about some of the then hidden difficulties with that, especially with content creation, because I know that's such an interesting space right now when it comes to cracking the algorithm, which obviously you're very lucky with your first video, as you had just mentioned. But kind of what goes into coming up with those different buckets, as you just mentioned, and how you're going to continue expanding that as your channel and socials continue to grow.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of experimenting, a lot of kind of getting shots up on the board because you don't know what's going to hit. And then once you find something, you can experiment more and build on top of that. Um, I would say it's a lot more about the idea of the video than how you shoot it, what camera you use, or how you edit it. And that's why our first video that was about why being an umpire is a great part-time job. Every time I told someone why being an umpire was a great part-time job, I always got a good response from them. And even though it was filmed on my terrible old iPhone, and we had no idea how to edit it, it stuck out because it was a unique idea and it was a good idea. So I think really trying to come up with unique concepts and unique ideas.
Yeah. And a lot of your videos recently certainly have been very unique because you've got an opportunity to work with the Savannah Bananas, which of course is one of the like biggest I guess groups in baseball now, especially with how they've been able to grow to a new generation and change the game and stuff like that. So I'd love to hear more about your Savannah Bananas experience, more behind the scenes than just your what it's like to umpire at a 70,000 seat stadium video and stuff like that. Like what that really feels like outside of just what you've posted about it already.
Yeah, it's been an incredible experience. A lot goes into it. I started out with filming with the team, and filming with umpires, and now that's expanded to me umpiring myself. So there's a lot of planning that goes into it, setting up the logistics, bringing out a videographer, planning videos, editing videos, trying to get them up. Um, Shortly after the game. So it's a lot of work, but always very worthwhile in the end. And it's a great environment to create content in which everyone on the Bananas, from the team to the cast to the band, to people who are coming in just for the game, are all creating content. So that lends to a very content friendly atmosphere.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd also love to ask, you mentioned you played Little League, but you were very, very good in the field with your trick shot horse video. So is that something that you've kind of been practicing in the background since you've gotten that job?
Not really. I've always had a good glove. Like I said, I played all the way up through. I always kind of enjoyed trick plays. But yeah, now being able to, go out with the Bananas, I'll usually go out, take some ground balls, hit some BP with them. So yeah, it's a lot of fun to be able to do that and to be able to do it in a very fun way.
Yeah, and that's what the bananas are all about, fun. And you mentioned content creation, of course, a lot of them, Coach Rack, Cox, all those guys are really big content creators. So I'm sure that it's a very welcoming environment, especially when you're in the content space like you are, kind of in a unique field of it, especially as well. So it's really cool. And I've certainly been enjoying those videos because I'll tell you, I was very surprised with some of those trick plays you made there in Fungo Golf as well. So those are some awesome videos that you've been putting out.
Yeah, I love it. We're going to be building more on that.
Yeah, I really like them. So so definitely keep those up. Um, so more into Banana Ball, I guess. Banana Ball existed before you were able to get the opportunity to go work there. So kind of want to get your opinion because early on, a lot of their viral videos included the dancing umpire, who was the first Savannah Bananas umpire who really went viral there. So what was your opinion on the Savannah Bananas and Banana Ball, especially kind of before you got there and what it's done for baseball?
Yeah, I'd seen it and it looked really fun. They were, had a pretty good fan base and were really growing. Always wanted to check it out. Um, and yeah, it was just very very special to be able to go from having not been a part of it at all to filming and getting great access to now being a part of it myself.
Yeah. So what stadiums have you been able to play at or umpire at now?
I've done Savannah a few different times, um, Fenway, Nats Park, Cleveland, Miami, DC, and then three NFL stadiums with a lot more to come this year.
Yeah. I know the NFL stadiums are definitely something unique that the Bananas have been doing, and the Clemson one as well, where they've been able to kind of turn that field into a very unique field. And I think it fits the play style of Banana Ball very well, where you have a giant alley straight in center field and then a short porch and right or left or however they configure the field. So I think it's very interesting to kind of watch the games where they're playing there. So what's that vantage point like on the field where you're looking, where you're maybe turning around if you're an outfield umpire and there's a fence right behind you and then you look in dead center, it's maybe 500 feet.
Yeah, it's pretty unique. Especially fan caught foul balls. You have to look up pretty high up there to try and see. So yeah, it's definitely an experience unlike any other. I'll just have so many fans in one place, and yeah, the configuration is fun. It can be tough to see if they have a huge fence, kind of similar to the Green Monster, so it can be pretty tough to see if it gets over. So yeah, definitely unique challenges, but unique fun.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about some of there's rule changes in Banana Ball, and that's certainly one of the aspects that makes it, um, some would argue, more fun and interesting than baseball. Was that hard to kind of pick up as you're looking at a guy taking ball forward and then sprinting around the bases?
I would say less the rules and more the speed. It is very fast, and just so much is going on. I remember I umpired scrimmages at the start, a few as a kind of tryout, and yeah, the speed definitely gets to you. Your head has to be on a swivel. You have to be ready for anything in any direction. You have to be ready for someone to make a trick play behind the back catch while the first base coach is doing backflips and split. The mascot is messing with you. So the speed is definitely an adjustment, but it's an umpire experience unlike any other.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I was watching the game that you posted about on ESPN the other day, and it's not the first banana game that I've watched, but it was just a very interesting experience, even when you're watching at home, where they're just firing pitches every 2 seconds, which is a lot faster than baseball. And then I switch over to the Yankees game or whatever I was watching right after that, and it's just nice and evenly paced and slow. And it really puts into perspective what the Bananas have been able to do and how Jesse has been able to kind of figure out this game style, because it really has changed how I watch baseball, because I'm waiting for that action every couple seconds now and waiting for someone to do a backflip or something like that. And in Bananas, you can always count on that happening. But I guess in MLB, not as much. But I'd love to hear. I don't know if you've ever said who your favorite MLB team is, or if you even have one, but I'd kind of love to hear about your take on professional baseball as well.
Yeah, so I'm a Mets fan. Definitely hoping that the Mets will play at City Field next year. And yeah, I still love professional baseball. Two different things, but I think the two can learn from each other, and definitely things like pitch clock and quicker delivery and stepping out of the box can all kind of work in tandem. So yeah, I think they don't take from each other; they add to each other.
Yeah, so I'm actually doing a Georgetown course right now on sports management, and today we did a hot topics panel with some of the professors. And one of the ones that came up, I think twice actually, was robo umps. And I know that that's certainly something that I think you would have a little more expertise in. So I think that this is a good time to kind of ask you about that. What do you think of that whole idea? Because we saw it kind of tested out in a hybrid way during spring training this year. And from a fan standpoint, I think that it was an interesting experiment and it looked like it was working, and in the minor leagues as well. But I'd love to kind of get your take on it.
Yeah, I think it'll have a lot less of effect than people see. They might go to it at some point. They might do half. They might do challenge system, but at the end of the day, it's not replacing any umpires. Just the home plate umpire has an AirPod in their ear and it's getting fed strikes and balls. So I don't think it'll be that much of a difference, but definitely, I think there's room for technology to help in different ways.
Yeah, I think calling it a robo ump is even a little bit of a stretch there, and it's less intrusive than people really imagine when it comes to an umpire's job and things like that, because it's up to the discretion of the catcher, the pitcher, the batter, whoever uh, feels that they want to test a ball or a strike. And even as I've been looking at it, I've been paying more attention to the umpire scorecards Twitter account, especially more recently as this debate has continued to heat up, and I'm just noticing patterns that just don't really seem to be making that much don't really seem to be intruding the game as much as I think they would. And I think that the need for robo umpires is a lot less than people make it out to be, especially right now. I'd still like to see it, but I just don't know if it's necessarily needs to be as big as a deal as fans and other people seem to be making it.
Yeah, it's catchy, but in reality, it won't be that big of a difference.
Yeah, and then I'd also like to ask you kind of about the replay system. I don't know how much experience you have with it at the major league level, or if you've gotten a chance to kind of learn about more how it works. But I think that's definitely, especially growing up when I was younger, that was one of the most exciting parts when the giant screen comes up in when they cut to New York and there's a bunch of things going on there and there's people all looking at the plays from different angles. Um, and of course, there's also that interesting play. I'm a Yankees fan, so I'm going to bring this up. But with the Yankees the other night in DJ LeMahieu in extra innings against the Red Sox, where it looked like it should have been a fair ball, but it was called foul, and then it even went to replay and it was called foul. So how does that ruling kind of come to be? If you really have kind of a take on that, or if you have any other information?
Yeah, I'd say I don't necessarily know that much more than the average person, but I'd just say they have a lot of angles in the replay center, and the TV doesn't always cut to them and show everything. So it's very in depth, and they're unless something goes wrong, they're usually getting the correct call.
Yeah, and I often find it kind of in the moment I'm looking at it and I'm like, how could they have possibly messed this up or whatever? But really, you look at the explanations later and whatever journalist ends up posting, like where in the rule book it says something and stuff like that. I'm just, oh, these umpires actually do know what they're doing here, and there's a reason that they've been able to become MLB umpires. So I think that there's the umpire hate that's kind of um, came about. I mean, ever since baseball really started and umpires came about, um, I found myself recently being, I guess, less pessimistic about it, especially.
Yeah,
And I think that that's something that people need to realize as well. That it started at like umpires are always going to be a part of a game. It's always going to be mistakes in some way for every team. There's kind of no like you would hope that there would be no favorites in umpiring. So I think that is definitely a fact of the game that people need to accept, and it's part of what makes baseball baseball and other sports with their referees as well.
definitely. There's absolutely a human element to the game.
Yeah, and I think that that could definitely add excitement, especially when the stadium then starts to erupt about a call and stuff like that. So I'd love to kind of just hear about your next steps. Your channel is still growing with the bananas. Of course, it has skyrocketed as well recently. You've Instagram, you've TikTok, everything like that. And you're a college student as well. So what do you think the next steps are going to be looking like? How are you going to be balancing this in the future?
Yeah, the next steps are to continue to grow. I think um, we are really just at the start of this. We have so much room to grow. We have so many exciting events coming up, and yeah, I feel like we are just at the start of everything that we're doing. I definitely want to continue to build more into YouTube long form, really get that going. So yeah, I think we're just just at the start.
Yeah, I've really been enjoying the long form content, and I know that ever since shorts kind of came about, that's changed how long form content is made and posted, especially for a shorts heavy channel like you have. But I think that the long form content has been, I think, some of your best work that you've put out recently. So I've really been enjoying that, and as you kind of wrap up here. I just really hope that you kind of keep going with this. I really enjoy everything that's going on, and I wish you best of luck with the bananas and everything like that.
Yeah, no, thank you. I really appreciate it and excited to keep building.
Yeah, well, thank you again, Noah, for coming on. This was episode 71 of the Sports Coverage Podcast. My name is Andrew. Vince will be back next week since we will be at Sports Broadcasting Camp. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. Check out all of the Umpire channel stuff over on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Is there anywhere else?
Yeah, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, theumpirechanel.com. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And make sure to like the YouTube video down below and check out all of the announcement posts and clips over on our Instagram. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.